And finally, before I open it up to everybody here, Cuba. You've been very involved with that. What's that going to do economically? When are you going to go down there? Can I come with you?
Terrific. Cuba it's very exciting, and the president, it's been a real honor to serve in the government and to participate in things like the opening of Cuba. Clearly the president made a determination that we all knew isolation wasn't working. And in fact, it was somewhat of an impediment to our entire relationship throughout the Western Hemisphere. So this administration is choosing the power of engagement. Now, we have to keep in mind there is still an embargo in place. So the Department of Commerce was very involved in the lead up to this announcement by the president in December, because we can change certain regulations that allow for greater engagement. For example, you can sell telecommunications equipment to Cubans and still not violate the embargo.
How important will telecommunications be to the next phase?
Significant, because think about this. Only 5% of the Cuban population has access to the internet, and only 2 million of 11 million Cubans have a cell phone. So they really are not part of the global community or the global information system at all. And so, but this process is going to take time. But having said that, travelers easier, telecommunications equipment will have a big impact. Agriculture. Big opportunity in terms of agriculture, in terms of development there. And so that's another area of opportunity. And you're seeing interesting things happen. Ferry service licenses. I think that the Treasury Department just issued at least a half a dozen ferry service licenses. Airbnb now has 2,000 residents that are signed up in Cuba.
As somebody who was once connected to Hyatt, does that worry you, that they're going to get there first?
You may get what you pay for. How's that?
Okay, well.
I'll leave it at that. The underwater cable is now open, and so you can make a direct phone call, which was not possible before. I think areas of business opportunity are really around entrepreneurship. And remember, there's an enormously deep history between the United States and Cuba. We have so many people whose families still have family members there in Cuba. And so there's a rich opportunity to nurture entrepreneurship. But we also have to remember the average Cuban earns $20 a month. So remittances, you can now remit $8,000 a year to a Cuban individual. That may or may not be a lot of money in Aspen, but it's definitely a lot of money in Cuba. So there's a lot of potential there. The communications infrastructure will be a big opportunity. And we'll see that kind of opening up will create its own dynamic that will create its own pressures as to what happens next. The Cuban government, this is a big change, and their government, one of the things that you learn as in these jobs is when you go around the world, some governments have more capacity than others, and we all want less government except when then it doesn't work and it can't actually execute against change. And so we have to be careful as to how much their government can actually handle, how quickly. Our hope is that that Secretary Kerry will be the first cabinet member to go and open the embassy, and then I'll go shortly thereafter.
Speaking of which.